This band and our podcast couldn't be possible without these folks. So without any further ado, here is a shout out to our sponsors. Pure Body Benefits is passionate about delivering exceptional client care and advanced skincare treatments. From laser hair removal to rejuvenating facials, their expert team is ready to guide you through your skincare journey. Contact them today at purebodybenefits.com. Multiple studies have shown that acupuncture, either alone or in combination with conventional medicine, can help treat conditions such as back, joint, neck, shoulder pain, or internal like digestion, anxiety, stress, fatigue, sleep, or skin health, depression, inflammation, weight loss, etc. If you want help with any one of these things, make sure you get a hold of modernacupuncture.com. They're located in Fort Worth, Texas, in the Alliance area. If you like getting into competitions for fishing, well, go no further. Please check out basschamps.com. Bass Champs, Texas' #1 tournament. These guys are the #1 in leading tournaments all over the place, so make sure you check them out at basschamps.com. Located only 15 minutes from Denton and Fort Worth, the Mule Barn in Justin, Texas takes pride in treating every person like locals. Whatever walk of life you come from, they want to serve what everyone wants: delicious food, world-class entertainment, and cold drinks. So if you haven't been there and you're close by, make sure you go check out the Mule Barn in Justin, Texas. You can find them at mulebarntexas.com. I've been playing at this place for more than a decade. Folks, it doesn't get much better than when you go to the Blue Bayou in North Fort Worth. You talk about a backwoods gym. This is it. If you're looking for the real Texas experience, live music, great food, Southern cooked, feel at home, feel like you can just watch the ball game, get a steak, get food, whatever it is you want. You want to see live music? They've got it 7 nights a week. So make sure you go out and check out the Blue Bayou, located at 12670 Morris Dido Newark Road, Fort Worth, Texas, and follow them on Facebook. All right, let's get on with the show. Here's our next episode of Blood in the Water podcast, hosted by Justin Ross and Deadwood Revival. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood in the Water. This is episode 10. We made 10, finally, 10. Today, we're going to be getting to know our boy, Mr. Aaron Capers.
That's me.
The man.
That's me.
That's right. It's the man.
Yeah.
So if you've been following the show, we changed things up a few shows back, and we brought Bob on, and we had Corey in the last one, and now we got Mr. Capers, and then someone's going to have to interview me down the line. I don't know where that's going to happen. That'll be on the next one. I don't know when. I don't know how. I'm the one that cues everything. It's going to be somebody that knows how to use Zoom, so probably you.
Okay. I guess I can see that.
Yeah, because I don't think Corey does, and I don't think Bob does.
That's fair.
I mean, Bob might. I don't know.
He figured it out once. That was my whole thing. I figured it out once, and yeah, I'll just kind of make do with it now. But
yeah. So let's get into it, man. So when, first of all, let's start from where are you from?
I was born in Houston. I don't really claim it all too much or at all,
Sure.
ever. But I was born there.
Okay.
And then from there, moved to Victoria, Texas when I was about 7. And then moved to Cedar Hill when I was like 11-ish. Then moved to Valdosta, Georgia when I was 13. Then moved back to the DFW, moved to Arlington when I was 15. And then I've pretty much just been here.
What was the reason for all the moving? Was it like...
my mom liked to spend my dad's money.
Okay.
So he wasn't at a position where he could turn down promotions, and JCPenney, where he worked at the time, they wouldn't promote in-house. They would always promote you outwards.
Sure.
So he had to take every promotion that came his way, or else, as soon as you say no, you're stuck.
Right.
So he kept taking promotions after promotions and kept kicking ass, and he had to keep moving.
Yeah, well, because you never know. Sometimes it's like military background. They move you all over the country, and then some people are like law firms, or some people are just,
Right.
whatever. My dad moved all over the country, and it was for women.
Well, there's always a reason.
Different wives with different lives, man.
Hey, man. What a story.
What a story. We all the kids, I got two stepsisters and two half sisters and a half brother. And we always joke about how there's going to be that that fifth teammate that shows up late to the game. You know what I mean? Like comes knocking on the door.
Man, I don't even kid about that shit no more. Cause like I remember I made that joke once, and like I met an uncle who's 3 years older than me.
No.
Like this is like maybe like 5-6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. My COVID kind of screwed up a lot of like time lapse, like timeline wise. But like I feel like it wasn't so far ago. But I found out I have an uncle who's 3 years older than me, like well into my 30s.
Well, I mean, I'd make that joke. And then I sit there and look at guys like Joey Christopher and go, dude, listen, I'm telling you.
Somewhere.
Like, bro, listen. Your father is not your father.
You keep joking with Tristan about that.
Oh, man, that still goes down at the end-all, be-all of all jokes aside and jokes intended. That was the best one that ever landed. Convincing him that I was his father was the best thing you could have done to a stoner.
You can confirm.
And the fact that his mom and dad got in on the joke was even better because he was mind fucked for about 24 hours.
And I can see the confusion written all over his face and the growing frustration of the truth.
Wasn't even frustration. It was tears. He had tears coming down his face while we were driving. We were coming back from Austin. He's like, dude, am I really? Man. He calls his mom. He's like, Mom, is Justin really my dad? I can hear her on speakerphone. Yeah. So he finally told you. So it was time. Yeah, and we had a whole story planned out, man. God, that was the best April Fool's ever, man.
Oh, spot on.
Oh, dude. That's a story for another podcast. When we have Tristan on here.
Yes.
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 Absolutely.
That's going to be a great episode, by the way.
Yeah. That'll be something.
That'll be a great episode.
Long as we don't have Bob and him in the same room. If it's just like, you and I and him, we'll be fine. Put him in the middle, we're good.
Oil and fucking water, bro.
Dude, man. They just, like, as much as they love each other, they just constantly do this, It's like, and they pick at each other.
They have the worst ways of showing their affection for each other.
Oh, it's complete hatred. Complete hatred. And 100%. That is a black tie, black suit to a funeral of hatred. That is just...
there. It's just there.
That's the bitch that showed up in white to the wedding.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Speak now or forever. Hands already up.
Hands already up. He's just back there like this. Yeah.
He would, though.
He would. Yeah, I still think we should get him some titty tassels and a thong, send him out in the crowd with a tip jug, and they got to tip him to get dressed,
Oh, man. Loaded. Best tip jar we've ever had. Pass the thing around like an offering plate.
But offering for him to put on clothes.
Nope.
$5 get you a sock. $20 get you a t-shirt.
I'm saying. Book that.
Damn. So, all right. So you moved back. So you moved from Georgia. That's when you moved to Arlington.
Correct. Yeah.
Sweet. So you were 14 when that happened?
About 15, like going into my freshman year of high school. So yeah, somewhere between 14 and 15.
So when did you first start playing drums?
Oh, crap. You'd think I'd have an answer for that at this point. I first failed at it when I was like 10.
What a way to sell it. Yeah. Well, because we all have it. We all have that moment where we...
Yeah, everybody has it. Well, I don't know when certain people have it, but I grew up around a bunch of prodigies, and like the drum community here is super 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 thick. So
Right.
the guys I got to sit back and watch and study were fun because I got to sit back and watch them, and you emulate what you watch, but there's no real feel to it. So
Right.
like when I finally got a chance to like get up and do some of the things, like my first track that I ever drummed to was in 3, and like I had no idea that was a thing. It was like a hard swung funk to like gospel tune, really, because it was just a
Right.
jam session between services. And yeah, dude, I failed miserably. The MD like got up and asked me to get off and everything. It was bad. But like the dudes who were next to me, one was I call him my cousin. He's like one of my really really good friends, Brian Harmon. He's an amazing jazz set drummer. Literally, like in my opinion, the best in the DFW for anything.
There you go.
That's completely biased, but Brian Harmon is that dude. And the other one was Brandon Price. And he drums for Casey Donahue. Yeah.
Right on.
So like,
No, wait a minute. Was he currently drum for Casey?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
Right.
brother always rocks the hat backwards.
He doesn't have a nickname, does he?
BP.
This isn't Taz we're talking about?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay. Did you know Taz?
I did not know Taz.
Another story for another day. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't even know Casey Donahue was until I saw Brandon drumming for him. I was like, oh, word.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can do this thing. And then I realized like lots of brothers are taking over like the country gigs, so to speak. So, but yeah, like dude's a monster. He's responsible for
The secret's out. This is why you joined Deadwood. I see what's going on.
Yeah, because I wanted to make all the white people uncomfortable with my really awesome floor on the floor skills.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it to come in.
It was
Man.
funny. Like, did I tell you about the dude in Kima?
Uh-uh.
When we played Kima,
Wait a minute. You got that? Like, did you got mistaken for?
Well, no, that was pretty awkward as fuck. But
Okay.
no, but after we got done, one of the stagehands was talking to me about like, man, there's just so many you black drummers. Yes, so many of you guys like taking probably country gigs. I'm like,
you were just sitting there like,
mm,
oh, yeah. What are you
give me an excuse
saying?
to act out. Give me an excuse to act out in my
Yeah.
But yeah, like he tried to be real correct with it, but he was just super energetic about like what we just did, which was really badass. And this was right before whoever followed us, what AG was the drummer who followed us. So right as he's getting set up, I guess he didn't see him set up earlier. It's like, man, it's just so many of you guys like taking all these gigs. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess our four on the floor just sounds and feels better than others. I guess I don't I don't know what it is, but no, like
that was the funny part. Was like when you came to try out for Deadwood, I had no idea you were black. Aaron Capers sounds like the whitest dude in the hood. All right, that it does. Aaron, yeah. Aaron Capers. Like it doesn't sound,
No.
If it was like Dwayne or something like that, like maybe, like, you know what I mean. But when he showed up, I was like, oh, he's a black dude. Right on, cool.
Yeah. No, man, Aaron Capers. That is I like a part of me almost felt like that was by design. Because I live in this mind fuck of reality where my voice doesn't necessarily like match what people initially see. So when they meet me, they're immediately like mind fucked because like they expected something else, and then I open my mouth and speak, and I'm very articulate and polite for the most part, and they're thrown off immediately. And now I just look at it and I just smile like fuckers. Yeah, I know. You don't even have to say anything. Like I just know.
Yeah.
But I think that's by design. My mom was very smart. So I think, if you were to look at an application and see Aaron Capers next to John Smith, next to Spencer Haggard, it would just like, oh yeah, sure, come on in.
Come on
like,
in.
I would get the benefit of the doubt immediately.
Yeah. This guy comes in with Skittles on his fingernails. Okay, this is not.
I like Skittles,
are you
bro.
Aaron Capers?
I like Skittles, bro. And these are new. This is a new thing.
I see that. I see the green in there. I see the Christmas.
Yeah, it's very
thing.
festive now.
Yeah. You went. Okay, so you dyed the. Oh, I see it. Yeah, that's straight up Skittles. Don't eat your hands, bro.
I will not, but I do love me some Skittles. That was actually like how my mom taught me like colors and numbers.
Skittles.
Yeah, was like counting through Skittles. Like I learned like
Oh,
multiplication and
yeah.
everything. Like she would just pour out a bag of Skittles and like, just separate them all, make me count them all, like teach me what colors they were, and literally just make math problems out of them.
It's better than what I got. Oh, you can't
Oh,
figure it out? You're grounded.
oh, well, that never worked in my house.
It
Well, my mom was
takes.
an educator. Like she was a teacher. She was an educator.
Yeah.
So, like I got homeschooled while going to public school. Like I got two schools.
Oh, I would have been so lucky. I got fucking.
That's one word.
I learned. I learned everything from don't do what your mom and dad did.
Fair enough.
Yeah. What is that? Water boy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was like every time he goes to take the test, he like thinks about what his mama said and does the exact opposite.
Opposite.
Yeah, that's how I learned.
Mama said. Mama said.
Mama said them alligators
Yo,
are ornery because
I know
they
this
got
is
all
about
them
me.
teeth.
Yo,
No
I know this is
toothbrush.
about me, but have we had this talk? Like, what's your favorite Sandler movie?
Oh, we have not had this talk.
Okay, like I've wondered this for like basically, what's your favorite Sandler role? Because it's not the best.
Hmm.
Like for me, it's not the best movie, but like
All right,
Little Nicky is my shit.
I'm gonna blow your fucking mind for a second here. And I've had this conversation many a times in a very hazy room.
Fair.
What if, and if you do them in chronological order, what if all the roles of Adam Sandler are all the same dude? He's just living different parts of his life.
Absolutely, until you get to Little Nicky.
That's his step cousin.
Oh, that's
You know what I mean? Like
extra move.
that's 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 Happy Gilmore. Instead of Chubbs getting thrown out the window, he got thrown out the window.
Got thrown out.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I don't know. They're all good. Um,
I completely agree. I
I
just,
think some of my favorite skits that he did were all back on his albums before he was ever anything. Before, like, when him and the bunch of the dudes from Saturday Night Live were all doing fucking the goat
stand
and
up.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
That's really hard. I got it's I will pose that to everybody watching. Like, I'm just curious, like, what's your favorite, like, role might be? Because I'm not saying what's the best. Like, what is your personal favorite?
I'm gonna have to. It's not, I, mm, Happy Gilmore.
That's fair.
Billy
That's a good one.
Madison was all right.
Yep.
There was a lot. There was a lot of great actors in that. But there isn't all of them,
Right.
comedian wise. You know what I
Correct. Like
mean?
the cast is never a question. And it's not even like that's why I was like, I had to preface it like not like what do you think is the best movie? It's like what was your favorite role? You know what I mean? Like again, Lil Nicky was mine, and that's
But
just because like
that would be my
just
number two. Yeah,
that's fair. That was just such
yeah,
an outlandish role that I was like, that's awesome. It sucked,
yeah.
but it was awesome.
All his serious shit, like Click and all that, was like,
Yeah, it wasn't effective.
come on, man, stop being so dramatic and serious. You're funny. Be funny.
Yeah, but I said that about Will Ferrell, and then I watched Everything Must Go.
Yeah.
And what was it?
But come on, wait a minute. Will Ferrell knows how to turn it on and turn it off, and does it
Right.
really well.
But I didn't know that going into it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if I watch like a Sandler serious movie, it's like, oh, okay, you're just trying to be serious. I watched Will Ferrell do a serious movie, and it's like, wow, I felt things. Like you're an asshole. Like, damn, I
What
wasn't
was it?
expecting. I was expecting a laugh.
Was it The Good Guys? Was that what it was called? Where he had to do the desk pop?
Yes, that was a good cut.
You ever done a desk pop? You haven't done a desk pop yet, man. What the hell, man? First day on the job, you don't do a desk pop? What do we just relieve tension around here? Fuck, I desk popped this morning. Yeah. Um. All right. So back to you. You started
Oh,
playing when you were about 10, and
yeah.
when did you start getting serious about it?
I was pretty serious about it then. I was just so turned off by the idea of playing drum set that I wanted to learn a different way. So I went into like a concert band aspect where I would learn how to read music and um do that and learn that way. So I did that through middle school. Didn't really learn shit in middle school besides how to watch other people like fake their way through things because my band directors were god awful. Whoever they are, if you're watching this, y'all suck at your jobs. Like, being a teacher now, like I would say, y'all suck. Um, it's threw the percussion in the back and just said, "Do this," and did with no instruction or no how to anything, just figure it out.
Right.
So my hands got developed because we just drummed in the back of the class on pads, and I would just drum with kids that were better than me. Um, but yeah, it wasn't until I moved back here from middle school and started high school at James Bowie in Arlington where I saw what serious concert percussionist and marching band was. So I was like, oh, okay, this is what they call a core style. Cool. I grew up in the show band thing, so I like, my whole family went to Grambling, so I was really big into that culture.
Now
And-
we have a video of that. I think with the Blue Knights.
Yep, that was me marching drum corps in 2008.
How old were you here?
I would have turned 21 that April.
Oh, okay. So we're skipping ahead a bunch of years at that point.
Yeah, but this is like basically once I got into high school, that's pretty much what led to that. Like once I started drumming in high school, going through the curriculum of the all region stuff, solo and ensemble, band competitions, and marching stuff in the fall, summer and fall. Like you just get better at it and better at it and better at it, and you wonder what's the next thing. Because my school wouldn't win anything. Like we would win like your occasional competition, but nothing as far as like percussion wise. So if you want to win something, typically you have to like go outwards and join another ensemble to push because you can't get high school
Sure.
students to push like that all the time. Not everybody's as invested as you are.
Right.
So I joined a group called Surround Sound Percussion. Well, let me backtrack one more year. I joined a group called Insignia Indoor Percussion, which was a colossal joke of it. But it was my introduction into the sport called WGI, which is Winter Guard International. But they had a percussion whole segment side, which was just drumming indoors competitively with a show and full, drum line and front ensemble. And it's just a percussion ensemble on the move. And if those videos weren't so like grainy, because that's how old I am now, if those videos weren't so grainy, I would have sent you those. But I'll show them to you at some point just so you can kind of see what young AC was like. And then Surround Sound happened, and that was the very next year in 2005. And I was taught by a bunch of guys who marched with this drum corps called the Blue Knights. I was taught by a guy named Tony King. He marched there and he taught there. And a number of the members of the bass line that I was on, they all marched Blue Knights as well. So I was kind of trained how to do that without ever like doing it. Couldn't afford it for a couple years. 2006, 2007 happened, and then 2008 I made it.
And that's these dudes right here.
Yes, that is. I am on the far right, bald and dark. This is the one thing during the summer we have control over. We write it, we put it all together. Like the staff doesn't help, but every year the Blue Knights do this, they win. So there's always the y'all better not suck vibe.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit,
guys. All time.
Can you hear that all right?
Uh-huh. Hey. Headshot.
That mohawk, bro.
That mohawk was thick. So what we had tried to do, we had this whole symmetrical thing that we said we were going to do 1, 3, and 5. We're going to go bald. We're going to have mohawks. And base 2 decided, not today.
Yeah, he's just got a full head of blonde hair going on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, George. And the bottom bass drummer, the big one, who's doing the robot right now on the left side. His name's Manny Flores. He teaches percussion at Trinity High School. He's the percussion director there. And met him. He was a student at Cedar Hill with my first teaching gig, actually.
Oh man, that's
Became
dope.
best friends. Yeah, man. Dude gave me a job like right out of like high school to go make some money teaching camps, and that happened to be his camp his senior year, and we became best of friends, lead partners actually.
Look at that face, man. Good Lord. But listen, man, if you ever cut your dreads off, you are fired.
Oh.
We're getting you a wig, bro.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. I'm gonna cut them, but I don't think I'll never go back to like that short. It'll probably go back to my shoulders though. These things are getting long. I'm tired. Like I'm almost sitting on them now.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, man. So I had the luxury of teaching an ensemble after this summer in 2008. So I taught at this group called the Revolution Drum Corps in 2009, 10, and 11. And that performance is what we call like an I&E, or an individual and ensemble. That was the ensemble portion, and we won that.
Nice.
Which is, we got highlighted and we got an award. We got a medal. I've got a medal somewhere around here from it. But that was cool. Like I got to experience that, winning it, and then I got to go and teach a group that went and won one as well. So that was pretty dope.
That's dope, man. That's cool.
Yeah, they didn't top our score, but they definitely won theirs, which is cool. So
coming out of drum, and then I mean, obviously that's what led you to playing with, for Dallas Mavericks.
in a roundabout way. So at that point in my life, I had dropped out of college. Went to school at Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches, Naca Nowhere.
Yeah,
right. For a couple years, and dropped out because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to be a band director. But I liked music and liked teaching it. I just didn't want to do it full time because those dudes don't make nearly enough for the hours they put in, and they don't get they don't have time to perform, which really sucks because they all get into it because they love playing music. So it really sucks. So I dropped out and moved back, and I didn't really have a backing or a plan. I just knew that I was going to find somewhere to teach part-time and pick up some part-time work and maybe find a place to, crash and figure it out after that. I didn't figure it out for like half a year, like 7-8 months or so. So I was living out of my car and couch surfing, trying to work.
Been there.
And one of the guys who was on the Mavs drumline at the time, his name is Brandon White. He was one of the original guys. He has a company called Dynamic Rhythm Entertainment. And he had a ton of gigs that needed to get filled and drums that needed to get transported from point A to point B. So he was willing to pay me to do the gigs and just transport drums and take care of them and all that, since I had a working car, just, down on my luck. So he shot me in advance, and that got me out of my car and got me into my first apartment. However, payment for that was I had to do a couple gigs for free.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of couples in there.
Hey, man.
One of those gigs.
Dupan. I mean, that's...
Yeah, man.
We all had to do some shit stuff to get to gigs that we're at now. You know what
Absolutely. I mean? Yeah, man. Like, it wasn't like I had to take any on the chin or anything. It was just like, looking back on it, it's like, man, when people say they did their time, I really question, like, did you?
Did you? Right. Totally. 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's why, a lot of that too irks me, like on stuff that I see today about people that, I was running sound at Texas Live a couple months back, and there was this girl that was opening up. She's from Nashville, and she was a duo, and she come out, and she had one partner with her, and she was really good. But after the show, she didn't have a crew with her. She didn't have nothing, like a manager. That's about it. And she wanted us to come out from front of house, come up to the stage, and clear her pedals for her. Because she said, I'm unprofessional. I'm like, honey, you're the opener.
Right.
Part of this is you get your shit off stage. I'm not your bitch.
Absolutely.
Like that's part of this. Just like a small thing. She goes, well, it just really looks tacky. And I'm like, not as much as the damage your mouth is doing right now.
Right. Not nearly as much as this. This conversation is tacky.
Yeah, this is horrible.
But I mean, shout out to them. I envy them. Like I of course like having, to learn. Everybody learns in their own curve type of thing. And I think when they come to their humble moment, like their humble moment is no different than anybody else's humble moment. They just, some might have a couch to land on. Some have a safety net.
Right.
Some have an air mattress. Some people fall into a perfectly nice king size bed, and maybe they didn't want the nice king size bed. It is what it is. Like she'll hit her humbling moment if that wasn't it.
Dude, it took me forever. Like once things started moving in the right direction, when we would sleep in hotel rooms or when we would get like a nice place to stay, even if it was like a Motel 6 or if it was like, the dead end, whatever, the thing we're sleeping in, I'm going, man, we're in a hotel tonight. And I still felt like, I don't deserve this. Like, this is above my pay grade. Like, how am I doing this? Because I got so adjusted to, we got to sleep in the van tonight or sleep on a picnic table or throw up a tent, or something like that. Like I got so adjusted to that. It took me forever to get used to like, oh, what? There's hotels involved. What are you talking about?
There's levels to this shit. And it took me doing more. It took me doing like out of town drumline gigs for me to understand that there's levels to this shit.
Right.
And same company, Dynamic Rhythm, like they would just book outside of the DFW as well. So if they took an out of town booking, like that's just a part of the booking. So I worked from, I want to say it was like 2012 to like 2014, maybe. No, it was probably earlier than that. Like 11 to 13, maybe. But Brandon had a job working at a bank and mortgaging. He does secondary marketing. No need to break all that down. But he had an opening and hired me to work for him at the bank. As here's the busy work. Here's exactly what you're going to do. On this day, you're going to do this task. 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 It's like laid out for me. All I have to do is show up, do my job, and I'm out. But the other part of my job was to run Dynamic Rhythm while he handled stuff at work. So learning a lot about the booking side of things and how things were booked and how to book them, how to price it out. Like learning all that was like, oh, okay. So in order to get like a hotel room, instead of just like, drive down and drive back, we'd have to charge this much. Or, work it in now that we're in the conversation stage talking about this and figure out if they can hook us up with a place to stay that night, so on and so forth. So learning that part of it was great. But at that point I wasn't playing drum set yet.
Right.
So like, I thought that was like, common knowledge and psych. Yeah. And then I get into playing drum set and it's like, oh fam, there's levels to this.
Well, let's take a quick look at that, man. This is you with Dynamic Rhythm.
Put your hands together for the man.
Now, a lot of these guys, we share a roster. So, like, the Dynamic Rhythm roster of drummers, they're all on the floor right now. This is one uniform that we just get to wear that pays us separately. And I wrote this piece, actually.
Oh, nice. Here, let's turn it up a little. Them highlights, bro.
The highlights are still there. There's way down here now. If I cut my hair, that's where I'll put it. Oh, he does.
Drumline.
Yeah, dude, that's dope.
I haven't watched that in a while. But yeah, that was cool. I wrote that piece. I wrote 3 pieces for the Mavs. I think that one actually got played by a group in the Valley. One of my students teaches in the Valley. He's got an indoor group that's just started doing like drum lines for the whatever basketball team they have down there. So he sent me a video of them playing one of my cadences. I was like, oh, hell yeah,
Yeah,
right
man.
on.
Nice. That's always
Yeah.
a good feeling, dude.
It's an amazing feeling to hear
Yeah,
something.
it's an
I
accomplishment.
don't really, yeah, I don't get that as a drum set player really, where like
Yeah.
you get to start an idea and see that idea all the way through.
Right.
So that's my version of that. It's like, oh yeah, I wrote that down on staff paper, took it to a computer, typed it all out, and people learned it, played it, performed it in front of thousands.
Right.
Dope as hell. Like
I think it would be awesome in Deadwood to have you come out to the front of the stage. Like if we get to a point where we can, throw a kick drum up there and just have your foot on a kick while you're playing on staying in the front of the stage would be
I'd be
sick.
good with that.
We
I'd
can
be completely cool
work
with that.
something up like that for next year. I think it would be
Oh
sick.
yeah.
So transitioning from drumline to playing on a full kit, what
Yep.
was that experience like?
It was hell at first because I had to like conquer the very well. I can't say I conquered the demon, but I definitely like acknowledged the fact that demon's still there. But I belittle him every chance I get. That from that very first experience, like, man, I really don't feel like I can do this. But then people like nod their head when I play things. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this.
Right.
I'm just not as good as all of my homies. And that was like my check. Like my immediate mental check was like, I'll never admit that I'm good or decent because I have friends that are so much better than me. But it's because of them why I'm able to like continuously get better to like, conquer my own demons, which is really cool and supportive.
I think that's key, man. I think a lot of like I think about myself as a guitar player, and I have my own opinions about myself that are very low. My opinions are very low. But I'll hear people say, "Man, you're like one of the best guitar players I've ever heard in my life." I'm just like, "Man, you listen to more music." Because
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I got 4 scales, and I just make them look really good with fat sausage fingers. Like Oscar Mayer, man, we're sponsored. Like,
that's what it takes. But now it's like we're like I got really lucky where like, the YouTube drummers and things like that kind of blew up right around the time that I transitioned to playing way more drum set, which is right around like 2012. So like everybody started drumming with a very similar style and flair. And it was like, okay, cool. I'm just not gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's I was taught to play different. And because I was taught to play different, like I'm gonna take what I know and adapt that to playing drum set.
Right.
So, meeting up with dudes like Gino Egelhart, one of the best dudes I know. Like he was one of the dudes that I used to like shadow at the church. Very supportive of me and like was definitely giving me the encouragement to like keep doing it, even though like I failed that day. That was one of the part of the stories that I left out was like Gino pulled me aside afterwards and was talking to me about like, just progressively just pushing me to like keep doing it. Just because my first time wasn't good doesn't mean the second time's going to be that, or the third time is going to be that. It's going to get better. So I just want to find a way to get better faster because I just watched 2 of my other homies just like shed, and it's like I can't do that yet. But maybe I can maybe my hands can be better than theirs. Now I just got to build up my feet. So
Right. But you're getting there, man. It's getting there. I hear it every time we play a gig. I hear your feet get a little bit more footwork going on in there.
There's a lot happening back there. Like my left foot is just chick galore. So there's a lot happening between both legs, which is really fun and cool. Without using a double bass as well, which is challenging at times, but it'll be fun.
That brings me to the next question: is like how many genres have you dabbled in behind a kit?
Shit. Well, I pretty much just joined different projects. So I
That's
started
an
off.
understatement, bro. That's an understatement.
I started off in a hip hop group. So like
Okay.
hip hop, and like I grew up listening to nothing but like funk. Like my dad's a huge funk head. He's a bass guitarist. So you'll always see he and Bob like talking about bass stuff at some point. So he was a bassist, and so I grew up listening to a lot of funk, which generated itself towards West Coast hip hop, and the poppier side of the funk disco genre made its way to the East Coast. like with Diddy sampling and whatnot versus Dre's sampling.
Right.
So I gravitated to hip hop a lot because it's a lot of the music that I would listen to, the source material for the samples that I would listen to anyway.
Right.
So hip hop's always been in my blood through and through. So I love drumming to hip hop, love hip hop through the roots. So first band I was in was called the Boxer's Brain, and that was just a live hip hop band. And then that segued itself into a folk rock band called Loyal Sally, because the guitarist, the bassist, and one of the rappers from the Boxer's Brain made up Loyal Sally, and they had just gotten rid of their drummer, so they just kind of just shooed me right in. So I took over for Loyal Sally, so I started doing some folk Americana stuff, which was cool. I learned a lot. But through like a series of disagreements led me to like try other things, dabble in marketing, this, that, and the third. One of the statements was about around me not like my ideas not mattering like musically when I was fairly classically trained. Like I know what I'm talking about, and I felt like I was being underappreciated. And the comment came up, well, dude, you're just a drummer. I was like, oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, you can pay me like a drummer. You'll pay me for the shows. You'll pay me for the rehearsals. You're gonna pay me to travel. Like you're gonna if I'm just a drummer, you're gonna pay me like one. Like I'm not doing this for the love anymore because I'm just a drummer. But when I thought about it, I didn't know what that rate was. Like I knew what my rate is as far as like the marching stuff went, but I didn't know what my worth was from playing a kit. So a couple weeks after that, I get a call from a guy named Pam Blanco. He's the bassist for the F&As, who I later joined. He had got hit up about a Latin band called Maita, and they're a hired gun band. So if you're in town and you can play, they'll pay you to play. They'll pay you to rehearse.
Yep.
There's a set rate per show. If the shows don't pay, you made like $50. If the show paid, you made $100. They didn't do shows longer than 2 hours ever, really. And if they did, we just jammed. So that segued me into playing Latin. So I did some Latin stuff.
I could see that. I can see where that comes involved in Deadwood sometimes.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, the cowbells and all the toys and what have you. The congas. And then after the Latin stuff, I went full in with the F&As, who are, if you can imagine, like I don't know what you would generalize them as, but it's reggae, but it's also funk. They're like War. If you ever listened to the band War, they would make the Cisco Kid and then turn it right around and then write like the most reggae tune, then turn around and write like the most like funk tune. But like that's like
this is the band that came and saw you down in Deep Ellum.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And then from there, King Booty, I joined a disco band where we were doing original disco in 2024, which is pretty dope. And pop punk with Further North.
Yeah, man.
So,
which is where I saw, that's really when I saw you outside of Deadwood. That's the first thing I saw you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw you with the F&As.
Which is great because again, like for those who are unaware, our new shit that we're about to drop, you're gonna hear a lot of that. Like,
right?
You're gonna hear some of the Further North influence that made its way into Deadwood.
Yeah, for real.
I'll tell you this. I completely hijacked one of the songs, like completely hijacked it, and will not apologize for a damn thing.
Yeah.
But that was very much like, dude, this feels like this feels like a Further North thing that I've like wanted to do with them for a while. Screw it, I'm gonna do it now, right. And we did it. It turned out really well, I think. So, I won't tell y'all what the song is. Y'all just gonna have to, pay attention and find out.
Oh, I think they'll figure it out. I already know.
I think
I already know. I heard it come through. I was like, oh yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah, but no, I think that's pretty much it outside like the party band stuff, which at that point boils down to like a number of different genres. You'll do some Latin, you'll do some disco, you'll do some whatever Mr. Brightside is, whatever Taylor Swift does. I drum Swifty.
Drum Swift.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. The only genre I haven't done was like metal, and that's just as much as I like to listen to it, the technical aspects of it, that just sounds like a lot of work for not a lot of pay.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is, man, and especially in DFW. Like, if you're in a metal band in DFW, man, more power to you, 100%.
Dude, for real.
That's where I cut my teeth. Was playing metal, and I love it. I still love it. I mean, fuck, you guys have to listen to it while we're driving down the fucking highway when we're going places. Thank God you guys got earbuds, because that's what keeps me awake and driving forward. There is a drummer. I'm gonna see if I can pull him up. Have you ever checked out the dude from? Oh shit! Now I'm losing myself here.
That's right. It happens. There's a number of them that I like. That I just like. I love. But they'll tell you that even a lot of those dudes, like when they're in their downtime, like they don't really drum metal. Like they'll rehearse stuff, but they like to drum to other genres because it gives them ideas on cool. So it's like
there's one guy in particular, and I'm trying to remember the name of the band, and I can see him. I can see it in my head, and I just can't.
Animals as Leaders.
No.
Damn.
No, it's a metal band.
I guess they're prog.
Yeah.
I hate this genre.
I'm trying to pull it up here. Here we go. Sleep Token.
Oh yeah, that seems like a fun gig,
dude. The drummer for that band. Let's see.
That seems like a very fun gig. But also, you want to be like a project of what you listen to as well. Like
he makes these videos. I'm gonna see if I can find one here.
Please do.
Because one of the ones he showed, I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. All right, hold on a second. Let me see if I can. All right, pull this up. Share this screen. There we go. Yeah, this dude's a beast, man. Oh, shit. Hold on. I got to stop sharing. I got to do it the right way. Fuck, you got to make it full screen.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole thing.
Right.
Shout out to Zoom for making
Damn
this work.
Zoom. I know. Son of a bitch. All right. Do you remember me? When the rain gathers. He starts getting into it, man. It's pretty intense. The fact that this dude's like complete makeup, complete hooded, mask on. He's still really tasty.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Like the question is like, I wonder what he does when he's not listening.
Yeah, I want to know.
Like what are those projects? I'm sure we can find it.
He's so precise. Yeah, the dude's like, he's just so, like he knows where he's going. And
yeah, he spent a lot of time drumming in church.
Yeah, he did. 100%. I guarantee you he did. That's one of those players that you're just like, man. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, so here's a prime example for me. Like I watched this guy. His name is
Make sure your sound for musicians is on.
Yes, yeah,
okay.
I made sure that was turned on. I remembered that.
Yeah, it's working really nicely.
Let's see. But yeah, his name's Jason Thomas. Everyone calls him JT. Seems to be a thing with initials. But I actually just watched these guys play. He plays for a guy named Mark Letary, and this is.
Is that old boy from Funky Knuckles on the bass?
Yeah.
Wes? What's that kick?
Beautiful.
Dude's an alien, bro. Dude's an alien.
Monster.
Monster.
Absolute monster.
Is that Wes on bass?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Okay, from Funky Knuckles.
Yep. That's yeah.
I almost thought that was Steve Hammond playing keys because it
No,
kind of
no.
looks like him, but it's not.
It's this dude named Danny. and Danny's a monster too. Like they're all monsters. I just watched these guys play at
I know Danny is, and that's the style like pianist that I would be
yeah,
like,
yeah,
come over here, buddy, come over
yeah,
here, Bob. You're gonna
got
have to just sit tight, homeboy. Like,
So
I respect you, but at the same time, like this dude fits in. But this is the rapper. This is the hug that hugs you and I as strings.
100%.
Yeah,
So I've got a couple keyboardists and like that I would call, and I've got his number, but at the same time, like I gotta we gotta make it worth this guy's time. Like the dude's just that good. That's like I need to make this worth your time.
yeah, totally.
So
I
as soon as
want so
we figure that
bad
out,
for us to have like keys, but somebody who knows not. Man, you need some light on you. You're really dark right now. You need some.
well, I
some
just killed a screen. It just went from like just adjusted to like
you
non
just
adjusted
blended in with
gradient.
the room for a second there. I was like, "Where'd you go?" There we are.
Yeah,
It's really
we're
red,
back where we were. Yeah, it was just really bright watching JT play
but
under the bright
man, totally. That's yeah, man. Those kind of drummers, you're there. That's that's where we're at. You know, when people see a Deadwood show, and I think as with like New Year's Eve, we're gonna be recording. We're gonna record New Year's Eve. We're gonna film New Year's
lights.
Eve. We got a show coming up the 22nd. I got to put on the books. It's gonna be at Platinum Music Hall, and we're gonna use the big room, and it's gonna be a ticketed event, and we're gonna film that, and it's gonna be just like that, up close and personal. 5 tables across the front, all seating. 5 tables across the top, sponsor tables, the whole night. We're gonna pack 300 people on this thing.
Woo!
Yeah, they're gonna take the walls out. They're gonna open up to the lobby. We're gonna have a bar. We're gonna have beverages for everybody and food for everybody that gets a ticket. That kind of thing. Like, make it a deal.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited about that, man. Like, I'm really excited for us because we're gonna showcase our new album. Well, by that
Yeah.
time, we should be done with the album.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, so we'll be setting up another rehearsals fairly quick because we got to
Oh,
get
yeah.
in and get some more stuff done. You weren't when you were out of town, and the only reason I haven't whipped this song out like the other night at Bayou, the only reason I didn't because even Bob was like, "What in the hell was that?" And I was like, "That's another one we got to pull into rehearsal." He's like, "There's a lot of stops." I was like, "It's a lot of hook. It's a lot of hook. It starts out with a little hook, then a bigger hook, then it gets really big, then it's boom, and it just hits you. And it's only about 3 chords long, but it's the way it's arranged and put together.
Right.
I wrote it on electric and put it over to acoustic, and yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're there. You know, when you're doing this kind of deal, this is what it's. We're there.
Right.
So coming out of, and it's not like you stopped playing with these other bands. You're still playing with these other bands.
I'm still playing with Further North.
Yeah.
That's about it at this point.
So let's go. I had a question here that was, oh, out of your career thus far, what has been your biggest learning experience? Something the one thing that has stuck with you that that you've never forgotten so far. The biggest teaching
Uh,
element to yourself as a player.
oof. Time. Time is valuable. But ultimately your name is all you have.
Yeah.
Like all you have in this world is your name. So of all the things, that's the one thing you should probably protect at all costs.
Yeah.
Uh, you can do 1,000 good things and do one really bad thing, and everybody remembers that one really bad thing.
Totally.
Um, so typically, if you say you're going to be somewhere, be somewhere. If you're not, communicate. Um, uh, but yeah, like don't flake, don't do those, don't do those things that cause musicians to lose jobs and opportunities.
Right.
Again, that's all you have. Like
Right.
I'll never say that I'm the best drummer or the perfect drummer for any type of gig or any type of feel specifically, but they know I'm going to be on time. And if
Right.
not, I'm going to overly communicate and make sure everybody knows where I am. I'm going to do all the small things that matter in those times.
Right.
So, that's it. It works its way out in the long haul, but that's probably the best lesson. Second to that is time and time management.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we
God,
go. I can
that's
see
so
you.
um but yeah, time management is also the other thing. And I've always been really bad at that. It's just if I have ample time in my day, I'll just fill my time up doing things with it's just my ADD. So I'd rather
Sure.
just be drumming all day. My dream job is to just drum all day. So
Be
if I
careful what
could
you wish for, man.
I
Be careful
know
what you wish for.
I'm okay with that.
There's
Like I
times, man, when I'm staring at these guitars that this whole room, I mean, I spend all of my time in here working. And there are days that come where I close that door behind me and I don't even want to look at this fucking place.
I
You know,
understand that.
I don't even want to be in here.
But that's always been the joy of having so many different ventures, like spreading having, multiple streams.
Yeah.
Um, that's another really valuable lesson for any aspiring musician who's watching this, listening, however you are digesting this, is the idea of multiple streams. You'll most every there we all know somebody who's gotten lucky, and luck is the residue of design most times.
Right.
So the ability to sustain yourself as a musician isn't always going to be like awarded to you. Like you're not just going to be able to, get paid to stay at home and not do gigs. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause
Right.
that's really what we're talking about when in terms of like I would just want to drum all day. Like I don't want to have a gig this day, but I know I'm going to be making X amount of money. So now I'm just free to do whatever I need to and want to do, and I can fill my time doing what I want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what I would want to do is drum.
Right.
So if we don't have shows, I'm going to book myself to go do other things because
Sure.
that's just what I'm prone to do because that's how I keep my lights on.
Yeah.
That's the attitude that got me out of my car.
Right.
That's the attitude that got me out of my, my one bedroom apartment into a 2-bed apartment. Then
Right.
eventually back to a 1-bed apartment, but then back to another 2-bed apartment.
And then he bought a house.
Then it got me into a house. And then it got me to owning this house.
Right.
So it's like I can't really slow that train down, but you know, trying to find this balance of like, where's the money coming from? And it's like, yo, if I can make all of this from just drumming, then that's what I want to do,
Right.
100%. Because I can do it in multiple elements where I'm not just playing Deadwood stuff. You know what I'm saying? Which
Right.
is for me to play. That's so much fun to play with you guys. Like, but I also have drumline stuff that I can do. I could write. I could perform with. I've got still have Further North. I can take hits with anybody if the time is available, as long as it doesn't conflict with what we got going on. But like, I can take other hits and get that itch out, and then come right back dead. We're like, all right, happy to be back, guys.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that brings me to last few questions here. Is like coming out of everything that you've done that led you up into coming into Deadwood. You hit your 1 year mark in October. I believe it was November. It was
October.
October.
Yeah, we met at the end of November.
You spent a year. We grew a lot together. You came in, it was one thing, and then it shifted into this other thing. And man, in 12 months, it took a hell of a lot of leaps. But what were what is your honest thoughts on Deadwood from coming in to now?
We're not a fucking country band.
Not a fucking country band. We are not. Stop fucking calling us country. God. I gotta throw this in here because I went off last night on TRHR radio. I did, and I fucking, you know what? I don't even care if there's backlash for it. I don't give a shit because we got to talking about Americana, and we were talking about the Americana radio and how we placed on there, and I was like, man, I'm really proud of that and what we accomplished there, and Tim Shipman kept throwing up the whole like, well, Texas country radio, blah blah blah. I was like, dude, let me get something straight here. Let's just fucking squash the rumors. Before there was ever Texas country taking a shit on the Americana scene, there was Bonnie Raitt, there was BB King, there was Muddy Waters, there was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Eric Clapton, ZZ Top. The list goes on and fucking on, and they were here long before there was ever a cross Canadian fucking ragweed. Period.
Yeah.
There was no red dirt scene. And I said, if you want to be really honest, red dirt music is country bands from Nashville that couldn't hack it, so they went to the garage and started playing shit gigs, and they called it Texas country. So let's get real. It's a garage band of an actual country band. That's what it is.
Nice.
So we're not a fucking country band. We're not. We don't have a steel guitar. We might have fiddle and banjo and acoustic, but you know what? Mumford & Sons had banjo and a fucking acoustic, and like,
right?
Are they country? Is
No.
the Dead South country? No.
But that's like
Stop
that's
calling
that,
us fucking country. God.
that was my interpretation of it. Was like, oh, this is I'm gonna join this little country thing. I was like, all right, I get in. It's like, yo, y'all had me learn like 3 tunes that are 100% not, but like still called country. And it's like, you know what? I just don't know. We didn't know what to call it. Southern Fried Dave Matthews fits the best. I still think that fits the best. But like anybody I ask, they'll tell you, it's like, yo, I don't know what the hell you guys are, but it's not country, and I can listen to it on a regular basis. And
On
I'm
a
like,
regular. Yeah.
And
how many people listen to us every day? Like, it's hard for me not to look on Spotify at random on the artist page and see how many people are listening. And at any given point of the day, there's like 20 people listening.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It'll say like 20 people are listening right now, or however many it is. But it's just, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like that was literally it, man. Like, and because we're in such an age of genreless music, like the best music, the music that I enjoy listening to can't be defined by one genre.
Agreed.
So, I mean, like I just showed you Mark Letary. Like, I like that. And technically, I guess that would be considered prog, I guess, even though like that's got some metal sense to it. That's also got some funk. It's also got some blues. Like,
you could say the same thing about like Joe Bonamassa.
You could.
You think about those bands, guys that you're talking about, then you even talk about like Dave Matthews, or you talk about Mumford & Sons, or you talk about any one of these bands that are like that. Matchbox 20. There's another good example. Yep. What do these bands have in common? They have no expiration date.
Correct.
None. They will be ongoing until they're dead, or until they just stop playing music. But they'll just be, which will never happen. They'll just live through the generations and stay progressing with what it is that they created, this music. And I think that's what Deadwood is. I don't think Deadwood is country or murder folk or pop or rock or metal. I think it's everything kicked in a can and spun around.
Yeah, man. I tell everybody it's a matter of when you decide to listen. Like, at what point in time did you decide to stop your conversation and listen to what was happening? When you listen to what's happening, like you are going to hear, like, there's going to be some country aspects, but not really. There's going to be some funk aspects, but it's not really. There's going to be some blues aspects. It probably really is. Like, whenever you decide to stop whatever you're doing and listen to what's going on, you're going to hear something that goes, oh, well, they're like this. And it's like, okay, well, I'm glad you listened to that segment.
Right.
I'm glad we gave you that. But no, this is a very eclectic and fun group. Because we're not defined by genre. And every group that I've been in has been defined by genre.
Right.
Granted, the genres may be wide. Like pop punk is very wide.
Right.
Like a song called Echoes, that's probably one of the poppiest things I think we've ever written. And it's arguably the most successful track we have.
Yeah.
And it's like, doesn't feel like pop punk to me.
Right.
But it's the pop end of the punk side, like the very pop end of it.
Right.
So like the genre is very wide to do so. With us, it's like we fit into any genre that you really want to put us in.
Right.
So like, yeah, man, this is fun. I get to express all the styles that I've learned from the beginnings of me playing drum set.
Yeah.
There'll be some funk stuff. There'll be some hip hop stuff that I'll throw in every now and again. Lots of Latin stuff because, damn it, I still love it.
I mean, yeah, I do. I mean, well, that's, you know, I grew up on Santana, you know, and so for guitar playing, you know, and then hearing, but even like when like, you know, like Sting got into some of that like islandish stuff, you know what I mean? Like the way he did it was not so islander, but it wasn't rock either. There was this pop side to it of soft rock, and I fall in love with that. There's a band right now called Dayseeker that's I've been fucking having on repeat, but they're doing this like soft rock style of a pop genre of today, and then you hear them fucking do a metal song right after that. I'm like, damn, dude, these guys, this is cool. You know, and there's a lot of bands like that are killing it that way, and I'm just like, man, good on you. And it just gives me writing ideas out that wazoo. I got a whole fucking book here I've been writing in for songs, and I keep it right here next to the keys, and I sit here and play on that and come up with ideas and throw it on a guitar, and then, you know, that's why I like that new toy coming in this week. Like, I'm excited to pull out the Telly and the PRS again. Like, I want to have those in the boat now, and they're going to replace 2 guitars that are in there. I'm going to have 2 acoustics and 2 electrics and start whipping them, because like the Got Me Running song, you know, it's going to sound better with me on electric. Da-da-bum-bum, you know, and then go in. That riff's going to be clear. I can redo that riff in the middle of the song and it doesn't get lost.
Right.
You know, there's a couple of other tunes that I might, like The Creep, I might switch over to playing it on electric versus playing it on acoustic.
Yeah, man.
You know, just for the show.
Dude, I'm down for. I always think like that's one of the next steps in what we're doing. I truly feel like is the production side of things. So I think that's going to add a lot to the production side.
Totally.
So, and we do a lot on the production side, but I think like there's I wouldn't say there's another level to it, but you know there is. You know what I mean? Like there's, you know, different lighting things. There's different, like, what does it feel like for everybody to stand? We tried it once and it didn't feel right. But it's going to feel a bit different when you have something other than an acoustic in your hands.
Well,
you know
well, yeah, when I have my electric in my hands, it's a different story.
Right.
I'm a different player.
I'm excited to see that. It's
a different player. I'm a different guitar player when I'm on an electric versus an acoustic.
This is going to be fun. Like,
it's a little bit, yeah. It's not messy. It's cleaner because I'm more precise when I'm playing.
Yeah. Of course. That's what
but then I can be really sloppy fucking blues all over the place, you know.
All over the place.
I would love to see a key. I keep coming back to that. Like, I would love to see a key player come into the band, you know, that is worth his salt. But he'd definitely have to have harmonies. He'd have to be able to sing, but not be riff driven, you know, not like where he's dancing all over the keys constantly. Be able to do that, but do it sometimes.
I got you. I gotta do I just gotta figure out when he's working. This cat named Sam Jones. Sam went to UTA with my homie Manny Flores. So when Manny was up there, I spent a lot of time in and out of UTA just because, you know, my homies are all music students. So I'm going to go up there and hack on the drum sets and play some jazz with them. I sucked at it, so I still run from jazz, but I appreciate it. but Sam got really good at it. And so he's a drummer, like, by practice, but a keyboardist because that's ultimately what he wound up getting paid.
Yeah.
And that's what took him out of the area and like got him to like tour. So plays keys, but he's a drummer. So like rhythmically, he already understands what's all there. So I think, you know, telling him, you know, take it easy on the low end of that keyboard won't be so much of an issue because he's already a drummer and knows that.
Right.
But Sam even told me like the right answer for if you want a keys player is Danny. I was like, I'm just looking for somebody for a cover. He goes, I hear you. This is what happened when they should have drafted Jordan first. Doesn't matter what position you need.
Yeah.
You draft Jordan and put him at center if you needed a center. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the dude in the draft. Like Danny was that dude. So I was like, that's cool. I'm very lucky that Sam like linked me with him, and then I got to see him perform with Mark and a couple other projects here and there. But yeah, Danny's a shit. I wouldn't mind.
Because I honestly think like the chances of us finding a banjo player that can play lead guitar as well or rhythm guitar, like that's going to be hard in our area where we're at in DFW. If we were in North Tennessee, this band wouldn't even be together. Like it's so we got to deal with the elements that we're in and use those elements to go further. You know what I mean? And
even then, man, keyboardists are hard. Like it's hard to find a keyboardist. Just because they're usually the good ones are always booked.
They are.
So
totally.
It's a lot of like you got to take your lumps on the chin and like we'll have them, we won't have them. Like that's a hard pill. So like, and I remember when we were talking about bringing people into the band, that's why I always suggested like a percussionist, because a percussionist we could not have at a show and no one's going to be the wiser.
Right.
But if we have them there, it's like, oh shit, they got a percussionist over there. Like, but you can not have one and no one's going to be the wiser. Like no one's going to know any better.
Yeah.
Like they can go missing. It's like once you get used to like having something like keys in there, like you can't not have it. And that's then it becomes like, how do we book it constantly? And then like, it's the similar situation to kind of what we've been in for a minute. It's like, how do we book this with all of our schedules? But like, even my schedule's manageable. Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
that's
had a
great history with keyboard players and schedules.
It has been an incredible ride of this. I think we've talked about this before about where we were at to where we got to this level where we could book 5 nights a week, but we were making very little money and we weren't getting bigger shows. We were making enough to sustain, but we weren't making enough to keep the rocket going. So the rocket hit a shelf and was just like, boop, no more. This is where you're at. You're not going any broader, you're not going any deeper. This is where you're at. And it was one of those decision makings where it's like we had to go, okay, no more of these little shows. We have to start pushing ourselves for bigger and better things. And you always hear those people that say stuff like, don't forget about us little people when you get bigger. It's like, I'm not gonna forget. I would never. You guys got us here,
right?
I'm not gonna forget that. But if we're ever gonna have sales or the shit that people look at these days, where they're just like, well, Deadwood's they sold out fucking Mule Barn at 600 people. All right, well, let's put them over here and see if they do the same thing. Well, what if they say, well, you can't get a count from Bedford Ice House. You can't get a count from Boomer Jacks. You can't get a count from, you can get it from Rhinestone, but you can't get it from Broncos. Every time we play Broncos, there's not a seat to be had in that motherfucker. So now, lately, last time we were there, I was clicking. I wanted to know how many people were in there. And I was just on my phone putting it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm looking around the room and I'm counting and I'm like, okay, there's 290 people here. That's how many people are in the bar. That was how many people were in the bar last time we played. Not counting who was out on the patio.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, there's 290. I'll log that number. Deadwood brought 290 people to the Broncos and Hearst. Then so as you're booking shows going forward, you got to use that to go, well, this is what we drew in DFW. This is what we draw in this radius. This is what we draw in this radius. This one over here is where we draw. This one, when we played the Armadillo Palace, we didn't draw but 5 people, but when we played the Junction, there was a packed house. When we played Sawyer Park, there was this many people, and you have to use that. And I think it worked because, you look at this past year of what we've accomplished in gig wise, from where we were playing to where we went to play. We went south. We went all the way down to fucking Corpus.
Yep.
Hadn't done that in the years prior, and that's oversaturating an area that was here. But the thing was we weren't making ourselves available to go there. We were
Right.
oversaturating here. So it's about making yourself available and wanted, and then that's where we're at now, and I think 25 is shaping up to be a monstrous year. We thought
I
24
hope
was going to
so.
be big, and it was. Now I'm looking at 25 going, holy shit, there's so many things on the table that are just, they're not off the table. They're all on the table. It's how do we put all these things in order to make this work? And it's going to
Yeah.
work itself out naturally. So, um,
I'm excited for it.
has Deadwood been an adjustment for you as a musician?
Yeah. But I mean, realistically, anything that's worth it is. Like that's like asking somebody who's single, like, hey man, like when you got into this new relationship, like, did you have to make any adjustments? And the answer is gonna be yeah, you have to. That's just it's a relationship, and that's all it is. It's a new relationship with three dudes that I didn't know. Well, two dudes that I didn't know, one that I kind of knew. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like, so yeah, the biggest adjustment for me was being available, because again, I would always book myself out like crazy.
sure.
So like man, I'm used to doing, sometimes 3 4 hour sets, or sometimes 2 to 3 gigs a day.
Right.
Just 'cause it would work out time wise. And not being able to do that, like it hurts. It hit different. Like it didn't hurt,
Yeah.
but like I had to take a step back from other things to make time for this new thing.
Right.
And the results of it like show, and it's completely awesome. But there's always that part of me that's like, man, I miss playing with these guys. Not because I don't like where I am, just it was just a different relationship. You know
Oh,
what I'm saying?
totally. Yeah. I mean,
And
there's times where I miss playing with like Michael Fitch and Ruben.
yeah,
They were just
yeah,
different players, you know.
exactly.
I think
And that's
about
what,
them on songs that I've done, that we don't do in Deadwood because it just wouldn't make sense. It doesn't. It's not our. It would change completely. Like if I brought a song like "Don't Come Home" into this band, it it's a total different feel. It
oh,
just doesn't make
100%.
sense, you know.
100%. Like there was a thing I like challenged like every band to do that I was a part of, that I haven't started with this one yet. But like I've always wanted to do a cover of either a 311 song or a Daft Punk song
All right.
with any genre, just to see if we can fucking do it. Like, are the musicians good enough to pull this off in whatever genre?
Right.
And I got Loyal Sally to play Beautiful Disaster, which was dope as hell. I've got I got the F and A's to play Lose Yourself to Dance off of the Random Access Memories album. And I was always just curious, like, 'cause they're just, two of my favorite acts. Like 311 is my favorite act of all time. And
Yeah.
then, Daft Punk, who doesn't like Daft Punk? And there's such
Right.
a catalog of fun things to listen to.
Yeah.
All of my students listen to Daft Punk, so they better love it. Um, if not, stop paying me, I guess.
Right.
Because we jam a lot of Daft Punk in my lessons. But
Do you think there's any kids in there like, ah, fuck this fucking band again? You know what I mean?
maybe,
You
maybe,
know
but
what
I
I mean?
like,
You ever think
but
about it like that? Like on the other side of the spectrum, like you're the teacher now. Remember
oh
when we were
yeah,
kids and we were in school? I had a
absolutely.
coach one time that was like he got mad because I was listening to my Walkman and we weren't he wasn't teaching anything. We were doing classwork, but it was like one of those times where you just buckle down and do your work. You're reading through your book. Yes, kids, this is back when we had actual books in school, and I had my
Right.
book open, and I'm sitting there and I'm working. And I have my headphones in, and he comes up and he taps the open button on my CD player, which was a bad idea back then. If you guys don't know, if you had a CD player, you want to hit stop,
Oh, yeah.
then
Stop.
open.
That's how you scratch your shit up.
Right. He opened up my CD player and I think it was Master of Puppets I was listening to. And
Mm.
he's like, Master of Puppets, huh? Metallica fan. And I was like, yeah. I,
Yeah.
I
I was
and I
listening to.
really love this album until you just fucked it up for me. Like, and he's like, anyway, he's like, you ever listen to like Foghat or anything? I'm like, oh God, here we go. here we go. This guy, he's going to start quizzing me on my music and starts
Oh
asking.
yeah.
And at the time, he's asking me about, but all the shit that was coming out of his mouth, I was like, well, actually, yes, I do listen to Foghat, and I do listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and yes, I do listen to Iron Maiden, and kind of find out he
Awesome.
was on the right page. But the other
Yeah.
teacher was not. She wanted to listen to classical music while we were doing schooling because she thought it kept us calm. Really, it was just pissing us off, and all of us wanted to just get out of the room because we're all a bunch of metalheads and grunge artists.
Oh, that 100% wasn't for y'all. That was absolutely for her. Like that was for her sanity of mind. That had nothing to do with you guys. Like
Nothing to do with us.
nothing to do
All
with
for
y'all.
all for her. Yeah,
Any
no.
teacher that listens to classical music was doing it so that they can maintain some level of peace.
And you want to know what's funny about that? That teacher comes out to our gigs. And next time she's at a gig, I'll
Yeah.
be like, there she is, boys. There's my fifth
Nice.
grade teacher. She was my, let's see, she was my seventh and eighth grade teacher. Yeah, she was in both.
Nice.
Yeah, she taught seventh and eighth. That was a
I'm
college
hoping
middle.
if we can get another show up in the Oklahomas, I think one of my drum teacher from high school is like I think he's teaching at one of the universities up there now. He's a composition educator.
We're
So
still
like
searching. I know that we're looking at Oklahoma City, and then we're looking at Tulsa.
okay.
Those are two of the big ones that we're looking at. There's three venues in Oklahoma City, and then there's one that's in Tulsa, and then there's also one in Ardmore. But that's not going to make much. I mean, Ardmore, whatever. But if we're able to pull it off, I've been trying to get with that dude forever to get us a show there, and it just seems like it never works out. So I won't hold my breath. But Oklahoma City, I think we're going to pull off. There's also one right on the border of Kansas and Oklahoma on 35, and I want to say it's called Rockin' Brews. It's a
Nice.
casino
Okay.
up there. We're trying to find a middle ground to where we can go to Kansas City, or coming back from Kansas City, we have one in Oklahoma, and then we come home. Either way,
Yeah.
but because there's knuckleheads in Kansas City that we're looking to be playing in 25, we're just trying to make it fit right. If we're going to Canada and we're going to go do that thing, then that's going to be on the way home. That'll be on the
Right.
route home. It won't be on the route up. So,
Yeah, hopefully we can make that happen. Boy, I'm trying to get out.
well,
That was one of my goals from playing drum sets to like is to tour nationally and tour internationally. And I've done the national part. So finally I can check that off the list that I've done.
one of the biggest things I want us to do is go to Ireland. That is my ultimate goal for Deadwood right now, is for us to go to Ireland and play. And I'm actually thinking about doing a Kickstarter, like a donation deal, like help us go to Ireland. We want
Yeah,
to
we should.
tour Ireland. And so I'd like to do something to where, we have a donation deal that is strictly like, we got to raise this amount of money. This is what's going to take us to go to Ireland,
Yeah,
and
I
see
guess
if
we
people
got to
want
talk
to
to a
donate.
travel agent. Yeah, I guess we got to talk to a travel agent and figure out like what's the fig, what's the overall number.
Right. And we got to figure out too, like Bob's got to get, and we got to figure out from like Trinity College there, if you can pick up a drum set from there, if he can pick up an upright bass, what's going to cost to fly our pedals and all of our, all of those things. It may even condense down. I have at my feet right here. It's see if I can dig it out here. It's kind of big, but it's this dude. It's a Fractal AX8, and basically I can program everything into this pedal board, and this is just
Right.
you know, there we go. It plugs in via DI,
Right.
and I can program everything into it for my acoustic and electric. But I think one of the biggest problems is going to be getting, guitars over there. It may just be like one guitar, one a piece, one acoustic, one electric, one
For the price, it
electric
might
bass,
be it.
one upright. You know, um, but I do
Everybody
want us
tells
to
me
go.
backline. Everybody tells me backline companies like the stand up bass may be a thing, but drum wise, like there are backline companies all over the world that we
There
just
are,
like that we should
there
rent
are.
from.
They're just expensive in Ireland.
Oh, I bet.
They
But I
are.
mean,
They're really-
but I assume like, unless we have a big stage, like it's not really gonna be like an ideal setup for me to have like to, bring the full setup that I currently play on.
If we were to go to Ireland, there are some big venues there for that would be equivalent to like the Rhinestone, right?
Gotcha.
Okay, so we're talking like that, or even I think the biggest would be somewhere like Mule Barn.
Gotcha.
They hold 600 people to let's say 300 people, and they're good sized stages. They're big stages, they're spread out. You're not cramped. It's not like the pubs when you go down in the quarters. These are music venues. Directly in Dublin would be Fibbers Rock and Roll Club. I would be definitely trying to get us in there. Do Kilkenny, do Galloway, just do the whole rundown. And we'd have to rent, we'd be renting a transit, to tour in. We'd have to get an X32 for our ears. And we would just take our Rolls boxes with us or our little ear rigs, pack them in our backpacks. And then we would just plug in and keep all of our cables and stuff and our pedal boards, So I'm roughly thinking it's going to be about 20 grand, like to get us fully over to Ireland and home, to be able to go over there and tour. So like if we could raise 20 grand, great. Let's go to Ireland and play. But once we get that established and we're playing there, then it's just turnkey. We just keep going back, But the key is to go there. They're very 20 years behind. So like they still listen to the radio constantly. Radio stations are a big thing there. You get put on the radio. We go tour the radio stations. We go talk to them, and it's not just Ireland, but we're hitting Scotland too. So like we would fly into Dublin, but we would take ferry to Scotland, and then we would go all the way back down Ireland. Yeah. And you're staying at Airbnbs all along the way. There's Airbnbs all the way through that place, and you're staying in all these little towns. Kilkenny theater, man. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up actually, because Kilkenny will blow your fucking mind. I have played in this theater already. Let's see, Kilkenny, Ireland.
I would absolutely love that.
Theater. Oh yeah, dude. Here it is right here. This is fucking tits. Let me pull this up. I'll share this screen. Yeah, this is awesome, dude. So this is the whole, they're giving you basically a tour of this place. And it's kind of a maze when you go in here because you're trying to figure it out. But it's part of the Lanterns Hotel. There's the courtyard of it. I remember I was drunk as shit walking through there. Like, where the fuck's the theater? Like, we were so hammered trying to just finagle our way in. But we would stay at that hotel.
Nice.
Yeah, let's get down to the. Oh yeah, here's the theater, right? Like, dude, it is so badass. I remember being like right around over here, like I was in this corner waiting to go on. But yeah, we played across this thing. It's a small theater, but man, so badass, so beautiful. Just so much. Like, here's the back of it. There's front of house up there in the corner. The place is just gorgeous, man. It's so enriched with history. It's just unbelievable. And when you're playing there, man, you're in this time capsule, man. That's just
right.
I can't explain it. Like, and I want us to go so bad because I honestly think I think Deadwood would just absolutely slay it in Ireland because we're using instruments that they're familiar with, but we're using them in a way that is completely backwards from what they're used to.
Right.
What we're doing is not supposed to be done over the way they play over there is very upside down. It's in backwards. It doesn't make sense to the guitar player here when I play with a guitar player there. The typical chords, yes, but the way they play, the way their strum patterns are, the way they pick and everything is different. So I had a blast over there playing with these guys, taking blues and bluegrass riffs and country riffs and stuff like that and playing it with them, and they were like, wow, I would have never put two and two together,
Yeah,
so
man.
I think starting like a GoFundMe, something like that, maybe to put on our website and help us go to Ireland. Help us, if that's something you guys want to help with, leave it in the comments below, man. Let us know, and we'll put it up on our website.
Hell yeah, I would love to do that.
I want to see us do that, man. That more than Canada. Like I love the boys from Canada; they're great dudes, But you never know that as of a couple of weeks ago, that might be the 51st state. Too soon. We may not have to worry about passports. We just,
Selfishly enough, I'm about it.
Right.
Whatever saves me money and gets me out of the country, so I can knock this off.
We got room for like 8 more states. Come on in.
Come on in.
Come on in.
Not polite.
I called Adam Danes. I was like, as the first Texan, I would like to welcome you as the 51st state of the United States. And he's like, man, wouldn't that be something? I was like, boy, wouldn't it? Boy, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But Ireland would be at that point. That would absolutely be my only out of the country venture. That would make me an international like touring artist. So yeah, let's go to Ireland.
Ireland would be the first stop. If we were able to get Ireland on the board to where we can cross the pond, let's say twice a year, and go to Ireland and play.
Mm-hmm.
It's establishing that first one. You're only going to go in and make a couple €100 the first run through, like from each venue. You're not going to get paid well. You got to get known there. But the people I know over there that can help us build that crowd will pump it up, and it'll be like a door sale kind of deal. And we'll do what we can while we're there. It's just making sure that our expenses are covered, for rentals and hotels and Airbnbs and all that stuff while we're in trap. One of the biggest parts is just getting there. It's just it's the flight. I mean, dude, when I went over there, I took a guitar, my pedal board, and a backpack. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I completely plan on backpacking that one.
You'll have to. I mean, you have to.
I've got a pedal. Yeah. I'll have a pedal and a snare drum and a stick bag. The stick bag will be in my backpack.
I would suggest taking your cymbals.
Yeah?
Yeah. The drums will be expensive.
Oh, yeah.
They'll rent them out per week, but I might be able to get us, a kick floor tom and a first tom and some hardware to have, we'll just have to set all that up. But I know Bob said he can get his bass from the Union. He can get him from Trinity College.
Oh, nice.
So you can pick up an upright. Yeah. And then we can just throw the pickup in it when we get there if it doesn't have one already. And then Corey, his stuff is small enough to where he can just travel with it. Yeah.
Right.
Which we might just use that green vault and put one of my acoustics in there and two of his fiddles, and down the road we go.
Right. That would make sense.
Yep. Or I'll just buy another one of those. They're not that expensive. I mean, they're not. They're like a couple $100. Get one of those and just put two acoustics inside of it and case it up. That way I know for sure that it's going to be over 50 pounds, but, we can cross that bridge when we get there. Anyway, point is to get us over to Ireland. Once you start getting onto that tour, then you can keep the globe going, because like I've got friends all the way down in like Sydney, Australia, Westport, Australia, on the west side of Australia, that are West Bay as they call it. There's clubs and venues all the way up through Australia that we can get in on, and we could do we could literally do like a month and a half in Australia. But the point would be to get to Ireland first, do 2-3 weeks there, and then fly from there to Australia. Because
hopefully that's a lot cheaper than flying there from here. Because boy, it is expensive to get to Australia.
Yeah, dude, I think it's like fucking $10,000 a person.
It's stupid to get to Australia. I mean, we looked at it like years ago. So, but that's like I'm sure it hasn't exactly gone down in cost.
Oh no, I don't know what it is, but it's a lot. It's a lot. It would be a dream come true to do that, but it's going to cost a lot of money. And I think it's just going to be when we get internationally built up, because we can do London. Because flying from here to Dublin is the same as flying from here to London.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, we can do London. Tristan's got a good friend that lives over in London that we can. He is in music and arts over there, so he can hook us up with shows along the way. So we could do London as well.
I would love to.
New Zealand, that'd be another one. Do New Zealand, do Germany.
My passport is ready.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, passport is ready to go, ready to get stamped.
Well, man, let's get after it. We got a show coming up this week. We're going to be playing the Each and Every One Foundation. It's going to be out in Mingus, Texas, and we're going to be at the Trio Club. And so make sure you guys check us out there. But first and foremost, man, New Year's Eve, we are going to be at the Mule Barn in Justin, Texas. We are closing the year out at the for New Year's Eve at the Mule Barn in Justin. A lot of people were asking. I put a commercial out about it. I'm sure you've seen them, and I've put out plenty of posters letting everybody know every day where it's going to be. There are Airbnbs that are really close to the venue, and there's also hotels just a couple miles away. They do have shuttles, so make sure you check with those, like the Holiday Inn, the Marriott, etc. They have shuttles that will run you to the Mule Barn and come back and pick you up. So, you don't have to drive, get you the hotel room, spend a little bit of money, and boom, there you go. It's going to be a hell of a night. Go to our website, justinrossmusic.com, and you can get your tickets on there. They have seating available. They have VIPs. Every table comes with a champagne bottle for the toast at the end of the night. Mr. Christopher Wright and his band is going to be opening up for us at the Mule Barn. So make sure that you guys get there early enough to see him, get your seats, and get ready. We're going to try and sell this thing out, and let's end the year with a banger. This isn't the last episode of Blood and Water for the year. There is one more before we end it, I guess, which is going to be my interview. So, we'll get back to you on that.
I think Tristan should do this one.
You think Tristan should do it? I don't know that he knows how to run Zoom either.
All you gotta do is just turn it on and hit the record button at this point. Like, there ain't much he's got to do to it.
True. Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's coming. But you guys stay tuned, and thank y'all for listening, man. And we will see y'all soon.
Peace.